My planner says it's time to do a Flosstube update, and since my planner is the only way I'm keeping track of anything right now, I'm going to do what it says and show you my projects. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle. Almost all of this stitching was done before my last Flosstube update, but when I did my last Flosstube update about the derailed and abandoned projects, it slipped my mind that I should show you the current projects, so we're going to show them here today. I finished Freedom Saltbox, and I love this one. I like the roses. The eagle does not stand out sharply against the background fabric, but that's okay because real life bald eagles, at least in my neck of the woods, and we have a lot of them, we're on their migratory path, you can't always see their heads really clearly against the sky. And since the odds of my finishing and displaying this are rather low, I decided to just use 3 strands to make it a little more prominent, stitch it on the fabric I had, and be happy with whatever results I got. And it worked. So at the end of my last Flosstube update, I said disaster had struck. We were on about 3 weeks ago, something, August, as far as a weird, slow time warp, has been so much weirder for me than anything in 2020. It was the last day of my husband's vacation, and we'd just been doing stuff close to home. And we were out on a little drive, and we got in a car wreck, and it ain't good. So I have not been stitching, but I have the things that I was stitching before that happened. This is memory lane, and this is another example of getting derailed, because until I reached into my sewing basket and saw this, it had totally slipped my mind. I would have figured it out quickly. It's in my planner. I know I was stitching it. I've got footage for a video for it. But it shocked me how completely out of sight, out of mind. It is a row of houses. It is an old school stamped cross stitch that I got at an antique store in Sisters a few years back for $4, and I decided I love Charles Wysocki. I like trying different techniques. I don't think I like stamped cross stitch as much as I wish I did, but it's fun and I'm determined to finish it. Current events being what they are, I have all of my deadlines have gone out the window. I'm not doing much of any stitching right now, but it's got to get better, right? And Pink Dahlia, my goal for the end of the month was to be like, have everything down to here finished. Goal is again out the window, because these are not goals that matter. I may or may not have remembered to tell you that I finished the black salt and pepper shawl that I was working on, and I started a new one weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago. I am blending a variegated acrylic with a solid acrylic. Now, the lady who donated these yarns to the quilt group donated them together, so I don't get credit for the color choices. I do love the way that, because the solid color is very similar to the colors in the variegated, it is kind of toning down that wild variegation. I'm not going to have enough solid to alternate rows all the way down to the end, so the top of the back is the solid color, and I think the very bottom of the hem is going to be all of the variegated color, which will be a little wilder, but it'll also be the bottom of the hem. So I'm confident that this will work. And right now, this is what I'm working on, because I can pick it up, knit for 5 or 10 minutes, put it down, and then come back to it later. Like I said, not productive lately. Before all hell broke loose, I saw that Pinker and Pumpkin Quilting had a new Saltbox House. And I love it. We're using my project bag to kind of blur the pattern. I think that works. This is Ant Betty's at Blueberry Buckle Lane or something very similar to that. I adore the lattice work and the basket and the blueberries, and I really want to stitch this. And it's got like little quilt blocks between the windows. I have a whole box of Saltbox Houses to be. I've got 4 patterns printed out. I've got all the flosses. Yes, 3 of these are autumn salt boxes that I printed out before last year's coast trip, but I have the floss and the fabric and the printouts, and it is here and waiting for when I finally get to stitch on it. Does this feel as bleak to you as it does to me? I'm still kind of reeling and thoroughly miserable and very, very cranky. I am glad that I have my planners, because beyond having appointments and schedules for the household that I need to have, I've got written down reminders of what I am stitching and when I last worked on it and what the plan was. So out of sight, out of mind should not get me too badly. There are things I was excited about starting that... What's the thing you do that's worse than putting projects on the back burner? If you know, let me know. Thanks for watching. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle. Hopefully my next update will be more productive and happier.